Hello and welcome to this part in the Special Good Advice series on building, creating and buying your computer, your workspace computer. And in this case, we'll talk a bit about storage. Now, I will say this right away. The best way to keep your important documents, your important files, and maybe not so important files as well, is in the online storage, in the so-called cloud storage. So it might be your own databases, but it will probably be something like Google Drive or OneDrive. Personally, I like OneDrive because you get a great deal. You get your Office, okay, Microsoft Office, that's Excel, Word, and all the other stuff, plus 1 terabyte of OneDrive space. That's what you get with your monthly subscription. A truly great deal. Do check that out in the description. And again, store the most important data in there, but even with that, you still need some local storage. Now, there are several options in your computer. You have basically you have SSD, a sort of quick hard drive, and then you have HDD, a more traditional, slower hard drive, which should not be used for installing programs, running programs on it, especially running operating system on it, but it's good to keep some additional storage as it is a bit cheaper and it is a bit more durable, okay, a bit more reliable in a way. So we will take a look at some of these different prices. You will see that the price difference is not that high and they do not cost that much money. So don't be stingy on the space. That's always a bad idea. But again, there are many different options you can choose from on these things in terms of brands and maybe performance. But the main two things you look at is SSD, solid state drive, which is that sort of quicker hard drive, and then the regular one. And then you might look at some external options, external hard drives. Those are great if you need to just carry some huge files between two computers in the same office. It will save a lot of time. Really, it will do that and it will be a great addition to your office. But if you do not need to do that, it's not really a great option. Better just go and store in the cloud. Now, with all that said, let's jump into some of these examples and see what I'm talking about. Now then, we can get into that whole storage arrangement. Let's see some options. And of course, it can be quite tricky. You have some options to choose from and where to store the stuff in general. You might be storing at your own servers, or you might be storing at OneDrive or some other option that might be offered. I do believe OneDrive is the best option, as it seems to be sort of the cheapest option, comes with the whole Office package. But we're now discussing not the cloud storage, but your local storage in your computer. And there are two types. Let's take a look at them. First of all, we look at the solid state drive. As you can see quite clearly right here, this is the option. SATA SSD, solid state drive. SSD stands for solid state drive. Okay, and this is the sort of quick hard disk or hard drive, or whichever word you prefer. Okay, so it's very performance reliant. Okay, it's good for basically doing stuff quickly. It will be quicker to copy the data, it will be quicker to paste the data, it will be quicker to move the data, and all those sorts of things. But it is a bit more expensive than a normal one. Having said that, these days this is not an issue anymore. Okay, now if we look at this one is currently at $48.99 and you get 480 gigabytes of data. Okay, now there is a 1 terabyte option that will be about $100, and there is a 2 terabyte option that will be even more expensive. But for normal office arrangement, okay, I would suggest going with a simple 480. That will be more than enough. Okay, you may sometimes consider 240, but in this case, if I go into that, you will see it's 27 28. You don't really save too much. Okay, Obviously, it's half a price, but you don't really save too much, and you're taking a bit of a risk. If you run out of space installing some programs, you will need to reinstall everything, and that might be a bit tricky. But for $50, you can get 480 gigabytes into your new computer. Okay, and that's all you need. You don't need anything more. Usually, unless you're going to store video data, lots of images perhaps, truly lots of data in that particular computer, which is quite unusual. Most office computers will require sort of maybe 60 gigabytes, 70 gigabytes, or up to 100 gigabytes of general space for installing applications and things like that, and then for maybe document storage and other such similar things, maybe it will be another 100. So 480 should be more than enough, okay? And you can always add some additional space. Now, this is the SATA SSD. And as I mentioned, there is a bit of a problem with these, okay? I'll show you the other option, or rather the addition, okay, that you can add. And this is an HDD, okay? HDD, that's the hard drive, okay? It's not solid state drive, it's hard drive. Now, these hard drives are the sort of older option. These are a lot slower, okay? These are a lot slower. So you don't put them as your main drive. You don't install your operating system on these things. And you probably try to avoid installing any programs on these sort of traditional hard drives. You should avoid them, but they are a lot more reliable than a sort of modern SSD solid state drive. Okay, these are a lot more reliable. They can last for 10 years, and these solid state drives, they may fail after 3 years. Okay. They should last a little longer than that, but they might fail. So they aren't as trustworthy. The technology obviously is improving, and they may be getting better, but I have had to change an SSD. They don't fail sort of right away. They just kind of start losing space in them, and it becomes troublesome. But in any case, if you get a simple one of these, you see this one is 60. It used to cost 99, okay? And then we have another option, this one for 180 gigabytes, and this one is 60 outright, okay? $60 right away. This one is okay, and this is an SSD, a nice option. All of these are decent options, but again, you go initially with your SSD. 480 or 500 gigabytes, I believe, is that sort of best option. Okay, best option. You're not overpaying, but you're also not getting stingy on that space as well. So it's a good option. And in addition to that, you can always add an HDD. Okay, this one or the other one I've shown right here. You can always add that later. Okay. The connectors on the motherboard should be always available. We have a few of these options, but you can always add that later. Now, there is an external option, of course. You see you have many of them. They range from maybe 50 or 40 bucks. You can get them to something a bit more, and you connect these via USB. Now, I think these may be good if you need to share some data inside your office, in physical office. But in general, I would suggest storing your data in the cloud storage. It will be a lot safer. Okay, you won't lose that much data. It will be just a better idea. So stick to the cloud storage. But if you really need one of these, I believe one of the cheaper options, 1 terabyte options, you can really get for like 50 bucks, a sort of a good, reliable product. Maybe a bit more. You can see right here we have $60, a decent option, 2 terabytes of data. Okay, so these options are available, but I would suggest mainly rely on an SSD as your main sort of storage in the computer, and then store the important data for prolonged periods of time in the cloud storage. And if you really need some additional space, just get one of these. Okay, now let me explain why the prices are different here. So you see, let's take these two for example. Okay, this one is $59.99. Okay, $59.99, the list price. This discount would be $48.99, and you can definitely find these good deals, but the list price, let's say, is $60. Okay, and then we have this one right here. This one is $99.99. Okay, that's the list price. You get that for the same price, but the real list price is a lot more. Now this one is $500. Okay, and this one is $480. Not a very big difference, okay? And you might think it's 6 gigabytes, but that's interface, okay? You see, that's hardware interface. That's how much the actual interface can take in or take up or deal with, okay? But some of these will have different speeds, read and write speeds. They will have different speeds. Now, if I look at this particular product, I don't really see that anywhere. I do actually see right here, up to 445 megabytes per second read. Okay, I don't really see write speed. Maybe we can find it right here. You should always prefer to find information in the About section or somewhere where it should be, not in the images or pictures right here. Okay, but let's say we have 445 right here, read speed, and we can now compare it to this one. Okay, now this one up to 560. So it's a bit more. It's actually quite a lot more, okay? It's quite a lot more. And since we don't see the write speeds in the previous one, we can't really compare them. But mainly the price here is higher, not just because there's a bit more space, but also because the speed is higher, okay? The speed is higher, hence the price is larger. So that's all quite decent and good. And if we take a look at our third option, I believe it was right here, we actually have another one. I'll list them all in the description. You can take a look at them. These are actually all good options. I've kind of sorted them out. They are decent options, all are great in your computer, and the price is obviously reasonable. You may find these options where the price is just insane, and there's really no reason to spend that much money for something you're not gonna use and you don't even know what it is. Okay, but this one we look at $60, and this one is actually a bit more of a worst option maybe in some scenarios than the $90, but again, this is just a list price. It's not on discount, so this is something in between. Now, if I had to choose between these right now, if I had to buy one, I would go with this one because it seems to have the best performance and the biggest storage space, and then between them all the best price. But right now it's the best price. The list price, if it goes out of discount, it will be a lot larger and it won't make too much sense. But otherwise, right now, it's a very good option. Okay, now, as usual, we want to compare these things, the prices. Okay, the prices we want to compare. And let's see if we can compare that in the new egg. I haven't searched or pre-searched those for you. We will do that sort of on the go in this case. Now, we are looking at Western Digital. That's WD, right? Western Digital, the brand. And then 500 gigabytes. Blue 3D NAND. Okay. Internal PC SSD. That's what we need. Okay, that's what we need. SATA free it will be anyways, right? And then we can compare it if it's actually the right thing later. Let's see if we can find it right here. Okay, we do get that. I believe this is the one. Okay, it's on discount as well, seems to be. Let's see if it's actually the same one, the speeds. See, we have 560 and 530 on the right. Let's see if we can find it right here. Okay, so we have 560 and 530. This seems to be exactly the same product, 7mm, 2.5 inches. This does seem to be, yes, it is exactly the same product. And the interesting thing right here, you see the price currently on discount is $59.99, but the listing price right here, I believe that would be $79.99, where in Amazon right here we have $99.99. So the list price is different, but as you can see, the discount in both places is the same, and you can get that at the same price in the same place. But I do believe you have noticed I entered in the search just the sort of basic name of it, but I also then came back and compared the speeds. Okay, the speeds, read and write speeds, and then the millimeters and all that stuff, just to make sure that the product is for sure the same product I am comparing. That is important to do because they might have different versions of different speeds and different sizes and different things, and you can make a bit of a mistake like that. But these are the storage options. These are the options you can choose from. I will provide all the links below. I think that's something to think about. And with all that said, we will conclude this video.